All right. Up next, we have Dr. Harry Kloor, a prodigious innovator who holds two PhDs in physics and chemistry. Beyond academic prowess, he's the entrepreneurial mind behind Beyond Imagination, co founding the company along with Ray Kurzweil as a revolutionary AI brain that can learn to perform any physical labor, from skilled tasks like those of doctors and nurses to unskilled labor in manufacturing, logistics, construction, hospitality, and retail. I first met Harry when he taught at Singularity University. His ventures include co founding the Ansari X Prize and pivotal roles at organizations like NASA and DARPA. Let's welcome Dr. Harry Kloor.
Hey guys, uh, can you hear me?
Yeah, we heard you, but then it just muted again. Can you turn it to current zone? And
Yeah,
then
I'm
if.
on current zone now.
Oh, okay, that looks good, except it just muted you all of a sudden again.
Yeah,
Can
it keeps glitching out.
can you
Um,
try to share
how
your
do I get?
camera?
I turned the camera on, but it's showing me up on the screen.
Oh, I think it's loading. Okay, yeah, I see you now. Yeah, very good.
See me? Oh, there. Okay. Hello, everybody. I I've enjoyed Grossman's talk and the other talks are very widely spread and I think very interesting, Greg. So you should be congratulated on bringing people together.
Thank you.
So I was with Singularity in the formation team. Uh, Ray Kurzweil and I have been friends for 20 years and partners. Peter Diamandis and I have been friends for longer than I want to admit. Um, and let's put it this way: he was my best man at my wedding. Um, so I've had lots of adventures in exponential technologies. This current one was in the planning for since the year 2000 with Ray. In 2016, I created the Avatar X Prize and raised $23 million for X Prize to have that prize. And it was, for me, a test of where was AI and where was robotic technology, what was the state, and was it ready for what Ray and I wanted to build, which is fully autonomous humanoid robots capable of learning anyone's profession. And 2018, we launched that company. And in 2020, when COVID hit, we started building the first fully functional humanoid in our first run at the synthetic brain. Finished that by January of 2021. And since then, we've gone through 5 other revisions and we performed numerous tests. I'm going to pull up a couple of them if I can share my screen. Let's see if this is going to work. I'll start with this one because you should always start with something fun. Can everyone see a robot with holding an umbrella?
Yep, we do.
So uh, for 1 week in last year in 22, we did a worldwide tour with the robot. Everybody else, even Boston Dynamic, which has some very cool killer robots, killer being the ideal word. They're mostly funded by DARPA and the military before they were sold to Google and then sold to SoftBank and then sold again. Uh, we decided we wouldn't hide in the lab. So in 2022, we went all around the world, from Vegas in January to Explorers Club for a week in New York City, and in fact, all the way around the world to Saudi Arabia, where we demoed for 3 days at the Future Investment Initiative. And the key with that was to see how safe it was to interact with humans and to see ability to perform in different environments. It's controlled in two ways. One, through its AI brain, and then we teach that AI brain through an avatar function. So if you want to jump in the robot, say you are a doctor and you want to perform a procedure remotely around the world, you can jump in the robot and do that. And every time you use the robot, it's learned from you. You now train the AI brain through two methods. One is through the VR first-person perspective, and the other is by feeding it video. And both have their advantages. I will show another video just to give you a better idea for those who have not seen the robot in action. So our approach is to go beyond chat. We love LLMs, but we have a multimodal AI brain and different lobes with different types of AI engines that sync dynamically. We also use advanced physics engines. This is it actually wandering around in Saudi Arabia. I suggest you expand the screen if you haven't. Our approach to robotics is very different from everybody else in the humanoid field. We focus on the human brain, first creating a synthetic mind with a lobe-based structure, and then determine what should the form of the robot be for performing work in the world. And pretty much 99% of the market that you'd want to address, you need the upper body. The lower body, we've chosen to use a wheel-to-base. This is one of many. This is super stabilized, has basically electronic gyroscopes in it. It has 12 times the running time of any robot. So whether it's Boston Dynamic or Tesla Bot or any of the other ones that are coming out, legs are very poor in terms of energy consumption. My robot can sit still, stand there for the next century. It doesn't burn any energy. But a standing robot will run out of power just by standing after an hour. Another feature here you see is it's risen 5 to approach just like every industry. Right now, we're focusing on medical. This is a demonstration of strength that was done 3 years ago. Key for me is the wrist, the ability to move your wrist and all the degrees of freedom that a human wrist can move in. Fine enough motor control to pinch salt, to do very fine motion. This is it learning to do micropipetting for Singularity, which is a publicly traded company. Here it is performing a task. Here's performing a drilling task using just an ordinary tool. No. Sorry about that. I called from the office. So we've tested in actual medical facilities. This is at True Pace Medical. We found it works quite well around all humans, whether they're 5 years old or 99 years old. So I will end that video. And I could keep talking. I'd like to actually open it up to questions because there's a wide range of things that we're doing with our robot and other robots, and a big focus on AI. I'm also, of course, a writer, director, producer in Hollywood. I wrote for Star Trek and created the series Earth Final Conflict. And of course, we just ended a very the longest writer strike ever because of AI. instead of me just blabbering on about my robot, I think I'll open up the floor to some questions. So, Greg, why don't you lead off, see if anybody has any questions.
One question I have for you is how are you applying GPT and neural networks into your system to allow your robot to learn?
So LLMs are one um, lobe. For instance, it's one lobe for our ability to be able to talk and get various information. However, our approach is to be uber focused. So the way our brain is constructed uh, and our approach to eliminating hallucination, because you can't have hallucination, is a whole range of different types of AI engines. So our visual recognition systems are a separate lobe. Our haptic AI is a separate lobe, um, and it is to be able to have them self-check and to be very focused. So, for instance, uh, two areas that we're currently training in is to be a surgical tech, which is the person who hands the instruments and takes them back from the doctor, and a surgical instrument cleaning tech. Um, and each of those, we limit their knowledge so that they can't branch off and mistake what they're doing because the LLM has told them something incorrect. So what we're doing is very limited um, bandwidth of those, but also chat. The LLM is never in control of the robot.
Harry, could you tell us about your recent process raising funds for Beyond Imagination? Like how you did it?
Yes. So we've raised two priced rounds, and then we've been doing a bridge round right now while we further develop the AI. We're fielding inbounds for the A round, but we haven't launched it formally. But we're looking at raising 40 million and have about 9 million already committed. But we won't launch that until we talk to other potential partners. This, of course, environment has been very tight for raising capital at this point in time. But there's money out there. We've been working through 2022, and our approach is to use a combination of both warm introductions, but also just reaching out directly to investors.
There's a chat with some questions. Ben Palmer says, "Where do you see the best AI engineering talent coming from in the U.S.? Is it recent graduates or experienced users? Is it New York, Boston, or San Francisco?"
I think it's a combination. So, for instance, I have a couple that we're working with, and also who I know starting their own companies, who have no real formal education outside of high school, but have spent their last 10 years really diving into AI and to other sort of cutting edge programming, and they come up with some very very cutting edge things. Then there are people that we're working with at Carnegie Mellon. I like Carnegie Mellon because they're much more application based in their work, so we're partnered with them in a variety of ways. And so I think great talent comes from there. Canada has a lot of AI development. Some of it is in the area of applications. China has probably the most AI folks, but a lot of that is academic and not as application based and very repetitive. So having 10,000 of the same guys, I don't think the best in the world. We have an India partner who we've has a AI school, and we see some smart things coming out of there. Now, of course, we at our university we have, I think, one several of the brightest AI folks. Justine Zander, who was at NVIDIA until recently, is probably one of the biggest rock stars in AI. And so I think finding folks from places like NVIDIA and other places where they want to be able to make a a big impact. Now, if you're inside NVIDIA, you're not going to see 100x return on your work in the next 2 or 3 years. If you're outside of NVIDIA, you could see such a multiplier. And of course, Tasha from also the same year sits on the board for OpenAI. I'm not sure if everyone knows that, but Erica Lee, also from Singularity, has a very good AI base. So there's a lot of people in our community. I don't think anything is concentrated in a particular city. And I also know some super veteran programmers who are in their 60s who, with their larger base of knowledge, are doing very interesting things in the AI space.
Could you speak about the Singularity University community and how the community has been valuable to you to support your work?
Sure. First, beyond supporting my work, it's just, I think, one of the best sort of people with innovative mindsets and people who are not trying to just do a 8 to 5 job. They're trying to change the world. And so just being as part of that community is a privilege and is also a fantastic resource. So I've found, through my years since we've formed Singularity, that I found a lot of good partners to work with. I found a lot of people to sort of where I can advise them and they can advise me. And I think the more you interact with your alumni, not just from the year that you went, but from other years, is going something will come. So I do encourage you to reach out. Don't just make this a once a year thing where we gather together and we chat a bit. Instead, find 5 people who are here today and connect with them, and something good will come from it.
And Catherine Mike Cronu from Singularity University, what surprises you in 2023 as still being harder than you thought it would be by now?
Raising capital. It always seems harder than it should be. And it's also very surprising sometimes to see what does get funding and what doesn't. And a lot of times the thing that does get funding can be just very much hype and doesn't have any real future, but the salesman nature of it is a big part, which is unfortunate. And also I think what's sad is that there's not a lot of support for deep tech. So and a good example of deep tech is, of course, OpenAI, where that was supported with huge amounts of money, and it only kind of came into existence because they weren't expected to make any revenue in the first 5 years, the first 10 years. And so it's surprising to me when we see all these amazing things that come out when we do support long-term deep tech, that the investment community has yet to catch up with that. But of course, in truth, it doesn't surprise me at all.
We have a question about Ray Kurzweil's books. I know a new one's coming out. I imagine you might have talked to him about some of the ideas in there. But could you share with us any insights from Ray Kurzweil's new books or his current thoughts?
Is it not out yet? The Singularity is Near-er?
I don't think it's out now.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I've read it, an advanced copy from about 2 years ago, I thought. What could I share? Actually, I'm not sure what I can share if it's not out yet, other than he's followed up on all the things in the Singularity is Near, and really demonstrates in new and novel ways how this is going to come about, and how pretty much his predictions are dead on in terms of what he said in his first book, where we would be right now, and in fact, like when the world got all shook up when ChatGPT was rolling out, last winter, in the October, November, January timeframe, depending upon how much of an inside track you had. But Ray had already predicted that and knew that it was coming about this time frame. I do have a video from Ray about the work that we're doing. I don't know if that would be of any interest to folks.
Yeah, actually, if you had that
He
handy.
said he couldn't make it. I don't know. Is he speaking later today, or did he speak earlier today? Because last time I spoke to him.
No, I don't think he's going to make it.
Okay. I can see about pulling up a video if you give me 1 second. It's what's exactly made for this is made for an event I just spoke at. So can you see that, Greg?
It's coming up.
Greg? Okay.
Yeah, I see it now.
I'm Ray Kurzweil. And it's a pleasure to be responding very positively to an assessment of what Beyond Imagination has accomplished. I've long been very positive about avatars of the human form, and I've actually written a great deal about this. And I'm convinced Beyond Imagination will be the leader of this emerging industry. This industry does have significance of technologies like smartphones and the internet. It's basically the last frontier of bringing the exponential growth of information technology. I've been thinking about the future and making predictions for decades. I anticipated a little technology called the internet, for example, because I saw the ARPANET growing exponentially in the early 80s. And in my view, this technology is another one of those emerging trillion-dollar applications in industries. What the avatar can do is twofold. It can amplify our own actions, but beyond that, it can learn how to perform tasks automatically based on its AI. It's going to include such routine things as cleaning up after a meal, or cooking the meal in the first place, or doing medical interventions, or any other repetitive tasks. As people show it how to perform tasks in real time, it can use that same data to learn how to perform that task automatically. In terms of Harry's capabilities to lead this organization, I've seen firsthand Harry's ability to bring his visions into reality. He has that unstoppable combination of vision, brilliance, execution, and tenacity. I know when he said that he could build a humanoid robot that could do a limitless number of tasks via a human pilot or an AI pilot, that he would succeed, which he has. Harry also has leadership skills to gather the best and brightest, and has already made more progress than anyone else in this field. Both Harry Kloor and Elon Musk believe that humanoid robots will become more valuable than cars. I agree with that. I see that eventually everyone will want to multiply their own body n-fold so that they can accomplish a lot more than we can do now with just one body. So the demand of billions of units, this ultimately will be a very popular type of product and also very inexpensive. I see a huge interest emerging quickly in this type of technology.
So that was a piece Ray had put together for a conference I was speaking at. Ray and I collaborate on this since the year 2000. We have a lot of his patents actually in the company, as well as new patents coming out. And in terms of billions of units, of course, he's not saying, in the next 5 years, but sometime in the next 10 to 20 years, I think humanoid robot servants will become fairly commonplace. Much faster than what I think people are imagining. Because wouldn't you like to get up in the morning and breakfast is already cooked, your clothes all clean, this is immaculate, the dog doesn't need to be walked because the robot actually went and walked the dog, the garden is perfect, and that is the future that will come. Whether it comes in 10 years or 20 years, it will happen.
That's great. Can we open up to questions? Would anybody like to ask Harry a question?
It could be about this. It could be about the movie creator. It could be about Hollywood. It could be about whatever you guys want. It could be about martial arts. I'm here for a big martial arts event. That's why I'm in a hotel room right now.
Looks like there's a way to request the microphone. There's someone that has his hand up. I'm not sure if he was looking to ask a question.
No questions? I guess everyone knows everything.
Oh, we got a question. For construction robots, what combo of AI tools do you recommend?
Wow, that's a good question. Maybe above my pay grade, though. I assume you mean what sort of AI to operate the construction robots. And so it's really going to depend upon the end effectors that you're using. Is this robot general purpose? Is it a welding robot? Does it crawl up the girders? And I think LLMs have a limited usage here. So they're getting better at multimodal work. As a caution, obviously, you have good visual control. The biggest problem with if you're thinking about using LLMs, well, you can see internet people testing that. The moment it hallucinates and now it decides to weld a person and not the joint, you're going to be in trouble. So in terms of what specific tools, I couldn't really recommend a specific engine. I would recommend using a variety of tools that are out there and combine them together for visual, for SLAM, for navigation, and for controlling motion.
And then we got a question from Ewan Masango. What is the essence of...
Yeah, I see this question. I like this question. What is the essence of being alive, and how do we expand our perception to operate, what is it, a inevitable future in harmony? So I'm actually here at this event with Mike Stone. We were actually having a conversation on this about an hour ago. Mike Stone is a famous martial artist who now speaks on being able to manifest whatever it is that you wish to happen in life, how to be more attuned with a universal intelligence and become in harmony with that intelligence. So for me, it's going to be an individual basis. Unfortunately, I don't see the planet anytime soon, and not even in the next century, having that universal. But I think it happens on an individual basis, both from you and the people around you. So I think the more that you adopt that philosophy of harmony with yourself to begin with, we spend most of our time with negative thoughts in our heads. And that definitely disrupts your own personal harmony, and you can't create external harmony unless you have internal harmony. So I'd say it begins with yourself, and then from there begins with realizing that the best way to move forward is by helping other people move forward.
All right. I was... Any other kind of questions for Harry, or...
Nobody wants to talk about Star Trek? I guess.
Oh, you haven't talked about your cat yet.
Oh no, I did. Yeah, I didn't talk about my cat. I should talk about my cat. Well, I just got a new cat. His name is Lucifer, because he's such a little troublemaker. He looks like a Black Panther, actually, and he's brought much joy to my life. So this question about do you use AI in making movies? I like this question because it is the reason we've had this long strike, because of fear of using AI. AI has been making AI tools for image making and adjusting. It's just now become way better. So I haven't used it myself in the sense of my previous work, but I am using it for my future work. And it's not just for AI for say CGI or AI for helping you write a script, but it's AI across the board, from planning, from productions, from location, and how you can integrate them all. So I've actually been working myself on a new AI Hollywood platform with actually Jim Giannopoulos, former CEO of both Fox and Paramount Pictures. And the controversy for AI, just for people to know, Hollywood's been on strike for a long time. The writers are reasonably concerned that the studios would use AI to draft some shitty sort of story and then claim that they have the copyright and then bring in a writer to actually turn that shitty story into something good. I think it's going to be quite a while before you have really marvelous LLMs writing brilliant books or scripts. What's more likely is a human writing brilliant scripts or books in partnership with AI. Now, at some point, of course, it will evolve and the human will be less relevant. But that's what the controversy is, because the propensity for Hollywood to cut out anybody and take all the money is basically ingrained in them. The same controversy is for actors. So, for instance, they want to be able to pay an actor a half-day wage, take their image, their voice, and everything else, and then use that in perpetuity, and basically eliminate the humans. Which again, that's the reason SAG is on strike. Yes, you could. In fact, in terms of the humanoid cat, it's kind of funny because I was just playing with my Aibo, which to me looks more like a humanoid cat than a dog, but I guess it's technically supposed to be a dog that Sony had created. And imagine just how much better you could make that. And in fact, I'm pursuing not a humanoid cat right now, but a different sort of smaller robot toy set that's very viable these days. And people tend to connect with inanimate things. That's why people fall in love with TV shows. And so I think it'd be very easy for people to have humanoid cats and humanoid dogs and have a very strong love connection with them. Right now, I'm not writing in partnership with any AI tools. Unfortunately, the AI tools aren't as marvelous as say, Midjourney. So I have friends who are using Midjourney who are famous, superb artists. They make artwork and license it out for puzzling and other things. And they've been using AI as a tool. And the beauty of using it as a tool is they still have to do a lot of work themselves, but instead of spending 3 months, they can make something in 3 days. That's even better than what they could make in 3 months. As far as me using AI, I've been using it to feed it patents I'm writing and have it spew out things I may have missed. And then of course, some of them are correct and many of them aren't. I will probably be using AI in terms of coming up with like, if you needed an idea, you're working on something in a scene, and go back and forth with the AI and discuss it. The best thing is feed in something good, and it will feed something out that's usually crap. But if you start asking it the right questions, you'll eventually get some useful. But I wouldn't be using it to read scene. So the question about X Prize, absolute same thing as Singularity in many ways, but different. Singularity is more of a community of everybody versus a group of people who are competing. But I've seen a lot of crossover between those teams where collaborations happen because only 1 to 3 teams are generally going to be winning a first prize or a first, second, third. The community behind X Prize versus is very similar to this one in terms of people like myself and all the other ones who are behind the scenes, working together both for X Prize competitions, for charities, and for enterprise. So if anyone gets an opportunity to compete in an X Prize, I highly endorse it. I've been involved both in the very first X Prize competition, working with Peter on the Anasaur Prize for years before anyone ever even heard about it. And of course, before it was called the Anasaur X Prize. And created the Avatar X Prize, and I also am one of the 3 co-creators of the 100 million plus carbon X Prize for extracting carbon from the atmosphere that Elon funded for over $100 million. What's your prediction on the interface to integrate with robotics? Oh, chips, nanobots, and bloodstream. What do you feel will seamlessly integrate with the human experience? So I'm not exactly sure what that means, but I mean, humans will be integrating and are integrating with robots in a host of ways. Let's take the example of how we train our robots, which is using VR and simple AI for you to become the robot with just a simple headset. And then as you advance from there, the ability to, for instance, use a mesh network in your head for people who are, say, paralyzed or have other things like ALS to be able to use humanoid robots as an alternative body. So you could interface to either something on the outside of your head, which I've working with a group for that, as well as like Elon Musk's company where they have this neural net in their head, this mesh. In terms of nanobots in your bloodstream, implantable chips. Yes, implantable chips could be one way to go, though I would prefer not to be implanting a chip in you to control a robot or interface with it. But then you also have all the robot tech sort of leading to cyborg humans, which they have. Which one feel most natural? Some people predict different things, Neuralinks, etc. Okay, yeah. So I think the most natural again is going to be either some outside headset that's reading your what you want to do, or if you really want to go to have someone put something in your brain, then you probably have natural control. For me, I would prefer just to use the avatar function so that you can choose to see, hear, touch, feel through the robot. And of course, this is Singularity University, so all these things happen dynamically together. So as the sensors expand, your ability to interface with the robot in different ways so you can have greater strength or greater vision or greater speed are all things that will come about. But also the combination of AI partnering with your brain so you're cooperatively inside of a robot doing things is an inevitable future. All right, so if I think we don't have any more questions, so I'll just thank everybody who did stick around to hear this. Thank you for attending, and I will be on my way.
Thanks a lot, Harry. Really appreciate it. All right, so I'm thinking of maybe changing it up to just let people talk to each other. Um, do you think that would be good to sort of stop the the talks?
Yeah, I think that'd be a great idea.
Okay, let's do it. Okay, so I'll turn off this presentation zone. Um,
If anybody wants to come over and talk, come over to me. Otherwise, I'm gonna run off to my next event.
yeah, come say hi to Harry. Um, okay, here we go. Oh no, this is it. I just turned off. All right, the presentation zone is now disabled, so you could turn on your camera, like a near me setting, and turn off your microphone, or turn on your microphone and turn on your camera, and then just talk to people. But I'll also say the closing remarks. So I'd like to thank all of you for coming to the Singularity Conference. I hope you found this informative, meaningful, and inspiring. I would like to thank the speakers for sharing their wisdom with us. See you all next time.